So imagine that I had a coffee shop. Let's just call this Barry's Coffee Shop, just so you know that it's my coffee shop. And I'm using a black marker. Let me switch to a blue one. Barry's Coffee Shop. Now, since I want to make money with my coffee shop, there's one simple thing that I have to do. That if I don't do this, I can't make money. It will be impossible for me to make money with my coffee shop unless this one specific thing happens. And what is that one specific thing? Well, if there's a bunch of people over there chilling at the park, let's say there's a bunch of people here chilling at the park, doing whatever they're doing, and then I'm over here trying to sell coffees, and I want to sell coffees to these people. What's the one thing I have to get them to do to even have the ability to sell them a coffee? Obviously, the first thing I have to do is to actually get them to go through this door, because if they're outside of this building, they cannot buy a coffee. As simple as that. If they're inside the building, they might decide not to have a coffee, but there's a much higher chance that they're going to buy a coffee after they step inside the coffee shop. So my only goal is to get people inside my coffee shop to even just have a chance of selling a coffee to them. Well, the same applies to your KDP business. I'm going to show you exactly what your door is, because there's one thing that you have that determines if customers are even going to buy something from you. Now, when it comes to KDP, there is the back end of the business and you have the front end of the business. So the back end of the business is everything the customer doesn't see. So what's things that the customer doesn't see? Well, you have all your SEO. Your customer does not see your SEO. Your SEO determines your indexing, which is something your customer doesn't see. Your ranking is how high your book is going to show up in the search results. So this is another thing the customer doesn't see. And then you also have your Amazon ads, which basically just amplifies your entire business. But again, your customer does not see your Amazon ads. So this is everything on the back end of your business. Now you also have a front end of your business. This is everything your customer does see. So this is everything your customer doesn't see. Now what is something your customer does see? Well, they get to see your formatting. So if they look at the look inside feature, they get to see your formatting. They also get to see your illustrations inside your book. Now, I don't know if it's reflecting here. I hope you can see it, but it's formatting, illustrations. They can see your writing quality. Let me write it here just in case it reflects. So your writing quality, how good your ghostwriter is. They can see your reviews. They can read your reviews to see if your book is good. This is everything your customer sees. They can see your A+ content. That's going to help them make a decision whether they want to buy your book or not. This is everything the customer does see. So this is the front end of your business. I wish I could have drawn this better, but I wasted a bunch of space here. So this is the front end of your business, and this is the back end. So this is everything the customer doesn't see, and this is everything the customer does see. Now there's one thing that is extremely important that actually links these two together. So can you see right here? There's one thing right here that links the front end of your business and the back end of your business. Just exactly what the door is here. And that's your book cover. Now, why is it your book cover? Because your book cover is the first thing your customer sees. So right here, whereas everything your customer sees, your front end, your book cover is the first thing. Now, some people might argue and say, oh, but the title is, but the price is, or the amount of reviews is. But this is the important part. The important part is that they see the book cover first. It takes up 80% or 70%. I've never done the maths, but it takes up a very large percentage of your search result space or your thumbnail. But guess what? No one's going to see your book cover unless your back end is good. If you're running bad Amazon ads and you're not getting impressions, that means no one's looking at your book cover. If your SEO is not good, you're not going to show up in front of the correct customer and they're not going to be able to see your book cover. If you're ranking really low, or you're ranking on page 2, no one's going to see your book cover because barely anyone goes on page 2. So if your back end isn't good, your book cover is not even going to get shown. If your book cover doesn't get shown, the book cover is where someone clicks on your book. Because like we talked about with the coffee shop, you can't buy a coffee unless you open the doors and go inside the coffee shop. Just like you can't buy a book unless someone clicks on your book first. Once they click on it, then they can get to see all of this. They get to see your formatting and the way it's written. They get to read the reviews, look at your A+ content, and then eventually buy, because that's what you want to do. You want to make a bunch of sales. So if you're not getting someone to click on your book cover, they can't buy. So your book cover is what links your back end of your business and the front end of your business. Now here's the thing. When I tell people that I spend over $400 on a single book cover, they think I'm insane and they think I'm wasting money. But I'm going to show you why it's so important to get a super high quality book cover. Because check this out. Let's say I pay for everything. Let's say I have a bunch of money. I don't understand any of this, so I don't know how to do this. I'm going to pay for everything. Let me take this away so I can free up some space. By the way, this thing here was supposed to be this shape like this. This looks much better, but obviously I didn't have space. So just imagine that this is what it looks like. But anyway, if I was to pay for formatting, that would be around $150. So formatting, I paid for it. Illustrations, let's add another $300. Now the writing, usually I pay $1,500, but I only put $1,000 here. And reviews, it probably costs you around $20 a month plus another $30 or $40 of buying books, I guess. and then maybe around 10 hours of actually reading the book and leaving the reviews and doing whatever you have to do with the Pobby and all of those websites. So everything on the front end of my business, everything I need, oh, and also A+ content. Let's just say another $150 for A+ content. You can go cheaper, you can go $100. Actually, let me make it $100 just to make the math a little bit easier. So now I've spent around 1,000, 1,300, 400, 550 and 50, 1.6K. So I spent 1.6K on the front end of my business, and I'm willing to spend $399 for the door. So this, which is the most important part, I want to spend a bunch of money on it. I want to make sure it's the highest quality book cover I could possibly have, because without this is a massive waste. Everything else on your front end is pointless if this is not good. Now I'm going to show you how to make really good book covers without having to spend $400. Now, just by making a better book cover, you can amplify your entire business, because your book cover is what comes between your back end and your front end. So a good book cover will not only fix your front end because it will look more desirable and more people want to buy it, but it also fixes your back end because you give Amazon the data that proves that people are constantly clicking on your book, and Amazon sees that and says, oh, people are they're really interested in this book because it's just getting a bunch of clicks and a bunch of sales. So your book cover helps the back end and the front end, which is why it's the most important piece of your book publication. Probably not correct English, but anyway, I'm just going to go with it. But here's the thing. Here's what everyone's asking. What makes a good book cover? I messed out the E, but it's right here, so you can see the E right there. Actually, let me, it's a whiteboard anyway, so might as well fix it. There we go. What makes a good book cover? That's what everyone's asking. So asking this question is basically kind of like asking, how do I run a successful gym? Like, there's not just one answer to it. It's a bunch of different, multiple little puzzle pieces, and you have to put the puzzle pieces together. So if you're running a gym, you must be thinking about, okay, well, what is the rent? Where am I going to find the machines and the equipment? Am I renting the equipment or am I buying it? Then what about the staff? What about the branding and the colors? What about the painting of the building? What about the mats on the floor? What about the extra classes that we're going to give? What's the price range going to be? What's the advertisement to bring people in? What's the upsells and the downsells? Do we sell protein on the side? Are there free classes? Is there one-on-one training that you can pay extra for? There's so many different puzzle pieces of running a successful gym. Obviously, I don't know anything about running a successful gym, but I'm just assuming there's many different puzzle pieces that you have to align together to make it really successful. Now, the same applies to book cover design, which is why in my program, don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you my program. I'm just saying you don't have to buy anything. I'm not here to convince you to buy anything. But in my program, I share 12 different design principles, 12 of them. If I can't spell principles. Now, if you apply all 12 of these design principles on your book cover, you will have an extremely high quality book cover. You'll be able to compete with traditional publishers because it's the same things that they're doing. And I'm showing you in the program exactly every single principle. Now, here's why I can't answer this question directly, because in the program, even though there's 12 design principles, one of the design principles is around 60 minutes of video. So it takes me 60 minutes to explain and break down every single aspect of the design principle, what it is, why it works, what to avoid and what to do in order to maximize this design principle. Now, this is the most in-depth training I've ever done, but I can't just sit here on YouTube and give you 5 or 10 hours worth of content on how to design really effective book covers. But here's the thing. You don't need to watch this to become a really good designer. You don't need to buy my program to be a good designer. There's other ways to do so as well. It's just my program, I made it for people that just want to streamline their way to success. So they don't want to do all the research and then go on YouTube, finding random YouTube videos, not knowing what works and what doesn't work. If you just want it right in your face from start to finish, here's everything you need to know, here's what's correct and what's not correct, and you want to have me explain everything to you, then that's what the program is for. But I understand that a lot of you will not buy the program, which is completely fine. The program isn't for everyone. So here's what you can do. So when it comes to book cover design, or when it comes to being a publisher, you have two things, or probably one of these. You either have a lot of time or a lot of money. Some people have both, well done to them. They're living life. But as a new publisher or slightly experienced publisher, you either have a bunch of time or a bunch of money. If you're broke, you only have time, you don't have money. But don't worry, you can still be a good designer, good book cover designer by just having time. And here's how I would do it if I was in your position. And here's how I actually did it as well. This is exactly what I did. And this is what I did specifically that caused me the most amount of growth when it comes to my design skills. By the way, if you are interested in the program, you can just go in the description. There's a wait list. You can just sign up for the wait list, and then you're going to get an email from me when it's available. Now, you have a bunch of time. If you have a bunch of time, now I know you're going to say, Barry, I don't have time or money. Well, great. You have to sacrifice something, because if you want to get to the next level, especially by increasing your skills, you must sacrifice something in order to achieve it. Now, if you don't have a lot of time, great. Even half an hour a day is okay. As long as you start getting consistent half-hour days, then the skills are going to pile up and you're going to become a better designer. But if you have a bunch of time, then you must increase your design skills. Now, you can go on YouTube and research videos to increase your design skills. You can join the program to increase your design skills. In fact, I also have a community. I'm going to be going live on Thursday, I believe. This Thursday, 28th. I hope it's 28th. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing book covers. So you can literally join the community. You actually have a 7-day free trial anyway. So you can literally join the community, absorb all the videos that I have in the classroom section. I have a full niche research training and everything. You can also join the live. You can send me your ACE and I can review your book cover. And then again, if you don't find it valuable, you can just leave the community and it's completely free to you. So you never have to pay anything. But anyway, you can increase your design skills by simply replicating book covers. What do I mean by this? Take some book covers that you like and then open up a new document from scratch, whether you're using Canva or Photoshop, doesn't really matter. And I want you to replicate that book cover. You can use different illustrations or different images, but I want you to replicate as closely as possible the book cover. Now, what's that going to do? This is going to do two things. I'm going to show you, I'm going to replicate it with you so I show you exactly what I'm on about. But this is going to do two things. The first thing it's going to do is you're going to get way more familiar with the software. If you're super comfortable with the software, then it minimizes the time from the idea to the implementation. Because if you're not comfortable with the software, you're getting all these ideas, especially once you get into designing, you're getting all these ideas. Oh, let me change the font, let me change this, let me change the colors. But because you're not comfortable with the software, it takes a while to make those changes. Once you get more familiar with the software, if you want a color change, you can do it in 2 seconds. If you want to find an image and extract the background and then apply it and then have an overlay filter, you can do it in like 20 seconds. But if you're inexperienced, then it will take you a minute or 2 minutes. So the more comfortable you get with the software, the faster you're going to be at designing anyway. And then you can be more creative because you're not limited by your software knowledge. But the most important part is that you get to extract all the layers. So once you start looking at designs and you start studying design, you can see the different layers they use to build up that design. Now, by you extracting these layers, which is what I did as well, I usually pay designers around $400 or more, $399 or more to design my book covers. Now, when I first started doing this, what I would do is I would pay them and then I would extract the layers from the source file, and then I could see the different things that they were doing that I wasn't doing. So they were adding different elements in the background that I wasn't adding. They were adding different textures and very, very, very subtle things that I never noticed before. And I only noticed it once I extracted the layers of people more successful than me, people better than me. But if you don't have the money to pay for a designer, that's okay, because you can just look at the book covers and try to replicate it. If you can't replicate it, you can see which parts you don't know how to replicate, and then you can fix the places in your design skills that need fixing. Now, I'm also going to show you what to do if you have money as well. I'm going to show you how to hire the correct people. But for now, let me show you an example of extracting layers, because this is important when hiring as well. Okay, I'm going to draw a book cover here, and I'm going to select a book cover from the bookshelf next to me, and I'll show you the layers on that book cover. Let me just quickly pick one. Let's go for David Goggins. I think everyone knows this book cover anyway. This is the book cover. I'm going to give you a few seconds to look at it, try to extract all the layers, and I'll show you what I see as well. So I have the book cover right here. I'm going to leave it right here and I'll tell you exactly what I see. So I see a rectangle right here. You can see they got a rectangle right here. Then they have a layer of David Goggins right there. So let's draw David Goggins. This is a different layer. Then they have a layer of text right here, which is behind David Goggins. So they're doing that to show depth. Then they have another text layer, which is above David Goggins. So that makes David Goggins look like he's behind the text and the text is in front of him. So it creates depth within the cover. Then they have a layer right here, which is text, which is the author name. They have another layer down there with a thinner font because of hierarchy for New York Times bestseller. And I don't know if you can see it all the way down there, but it says over 1 million copies sold. So they have an even smaller font, again, for hierarchy. And it also has a thinner weight. They have 2 lines here, another layer. That's to create symmetry. They also have another layer right here, which is text. Inside the text, the word "and" is smaller than everything else. So that's a separate layer to make the text "and" smaller than everything else. They also have a layer of David Goggins, the old David Goggins in the background. So another layer behind the text, creating even more depth. And then the layer in the background, I don't know if you can see it, but they have a slight texture. Can you see the texture on David Goggins? He has the old David Goggins. He has like a little dotted texture. So then they added a texture layer as well. Now, if you look very closely, they also added a shadow layer right here over David Goggins. That's to create more contrast. And from what I see, New York Times is also in italics, and that's basically it. So just by looking at the David Goggins book cover, I can go in Photoshop and replicate every single layer and replicate this book cover. But if I don't know what I'm looking for and I can't distinguish the layers with my eyes just by looking at the book, then great. That means me as a designer, I need to get better at design so I can distinguish each layer. And the best way to do that is by extracting these. Just go out and test it yourself. Go on Photoshop or go on Canva, pick up your favorite book cover and just try to replicate it. Try to replicate the font, try to find the same font as this, try to pick the color yourself. Don't just go and use the color picker to pick this color. Try and find the color yourself. You can get better at visualizing colors and picking colors, and just experiment with book cover design. Now, extracting the layers is basically the easiest thing you could possibly do, and it's the free way of being a better designer. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you're drawing and you see like a famous character, let's say Pikachu from Pokemon, and then you just start drawing Pikachu and see how good you can get at drawing Pikachu. You replicate something that already looks good and you try to get better and better by replicating closer and closer. Now, if you do this with book cover design, you're going to be a better designer. You're going to know the software better and you're going to start extracting the layers and understanding design better. Now, the only thing it does, it takes some time. But now, what if you have money? What if you're paying $399 for a book cover design because you have money to spare and you don't have very many skills in design, so you just rather pay someone to do it that already knows what they're doing? I usually go on 99 Designs to get my book cover designs. Now, here's why I go on 99 Designs and I don't go on Fiverr and I don't go on Upwork. There's many reasons I go on 99 Designs, but here's how 99 Designs works. And don't worry, there's no affiliate links. I'm not one of those gurus that are like, oh, click my affiliate link. Everything in the description is always my own things. I don't put any affiliate links in my description. And also, I don't run ads on my YouTube videos either, because I don't want to make money off you just by free content. The only way you can give me money is if my free content is valuable enough for you to say, hey, I want to know more from Barry. I'm going to pay him so I can get closer to him and learn more from him. That's the only way. I'm not making money from you with affiliate links that you're going to click on my description, and I'm not making money on you from YouTube adverts that you have to watch before watching my video. That's not how it works here. But anyway, 99 Designs. Here's what happens on 99 Designs. You run something called a contest. Now, you determine the prize, and that prize I would strongly recommend is $3.99 or above, and I will tell you why. So when you run a contest, there's a bunch of designers that will read your brief. Your brief is basically saying, hey, here's what my book is, here's the target audience, and blah, blah, blah. So if you read this, you understand what type of book cover the designer is going to make. That's your brief. You send them your brief, you put your brief on your contest, you put a $400 price, and then designers can start entering your contest and they can start submitting designs. If you're part of the program, I show you how to get 20, 30 designers a day to submit covers to you. And these are super high quality designers as well, because the higher the prize money, the higher quality designers you're going to attract to your contest. And basically what they do is they give some concepts for book cover designs. This guy might give one, this guy might give two concepts, this guy might give three concepts. Now, all of these guys are different designers. They're all submitting the book covers to you, to your contest, and they can't see each other's design. So this guy can't see this guy's design, so he can't steal from them. Everything has to be original. So now what ends up happening is you pay $400 for a contest, and now you have 30, 40, 50, 70 different designs to look through and pick the best one for you. You feel like a king. It's just a bunch of designers sending you designs constantly to you. And then what you can do is you basically have around 4 or 5 days to look at the designs, pick the ones you want, and then you get to pick 5 of these designers. I think it's 5. But then you pick 5 of these designers based on their book cover. So now you narrow it down from 50 book cover designs, you narrow it down to the 5 best ones. Now think about that. You have 70 different concepts, or even 30 different concepts, and then you have so much selection to pick from. You pick the 5 best ones. It's like going to a fruit store and then you see like 100 apples and then you get to pick the 5 best ones for you. You have a bigger selection. If you go to the fruit store and there's only 2 apples, well, you don't really have a selection to pick from. You're just going to get whatever you're given. So now you pick 5 of the best book covers. Here's what you're going to do now. From these 5, you get to speak to the designers and make little adjustments to see if we can make these better, how to make them the most effective one possible. Now guess what happened? Once you pick the one that you like the most, let's say this one here, great. This designer moves on to work one-on-one with you. Well, not work one-on-one, but this guy won the entire contest. I'm going to get rid of this so I can show you clearer up here. Now that this guy won the contest, here's the guy right here. Here's the guy that won it. And then here's you. I'm going to give you a tie because you are a serious publisher. This is your tie. I can't even draw ties. Anyway, this is you. This is your designer. Now that the designer won, first of all, they get the $399 prize. Everyone else here gets nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, is this a little bit horrible? Maybe. I don't know, but I'm not the one to judge. But the final contestant will get the $399 prize or whatever amount of money you're going to put. I would recommend $400 and above. And what they're going to do is they're going to give you a source file. They're going to give you the final file. It could be a PDF or a JPEG or whatever you request. And then you can also talk to them to make some micro adjustments if you want before finalizing the file. There's also the contract. You sign the contract. They transfer everything to you, all of that business things. But anyway, the most important thing is they give you the source file. So not only do you have a good cover that you can publish, not only can you make little micro adjustments, but you also get the source file. And guess what you can do with the source file? You can extract the layers from this successful book cover. There's a reason you pick this book cover over the 80 other book covers. So you might as well use the source file to extract the layers so you can become a better designer, even if you're paying someone. Because guess what? If you don't know anything about design, then you're just relying on your instinct to pick the best one. You're basically saying, hey, which one do I prefer? But if you're a good designer and you understand the skills of design, then great. You can see which one of these designers is actually good and which one's not. You can see the mistakes they're making. You can see the different layers they're adding and why they're adding the layers and how effectively they added the layers together, or how effective was the font that they picked compared to the niche, or the colors that they picked, or the distribution of colors on the book cover, or the hierarchy. Did they use hierarchy correctly? Could they use it better? If you understand these principles, there's obviously way more principles, but if you understand these principles, it's easier for you to get a better book cover in the end. And then also when you start extracting files from the source file, you will understand what they did good, and you can even try to make it better. When I go on 99 Designs and I actually order a book cover, I only order the final file when it's around 80% ready. I do the extra 20% that I want because I understand the software. I know I don't need to talk to them about micro adjustments. It's just faster and easier if I do it myself. And I can experiment more and I can see if I can make it better than them. So now I paid $400 for a very, very high quality book cover design, and also for the experience of getting the source file and extracting the layers and see what they did different so I can become a better designer. This $400 is a 2-in-1, and it's also the entire door to my business. Without this book cover, this high quality book cover, I'm ruining all my chances of success. You can basically fix everything in your business by slightly. You can make everything slightly better just by making your book cover better. Your back end will work better because your CTR is going to be higher, and your front end is going to be your front end's going to work better. Again, because your CTR is higher, and also your CVR might be higher, your conversion rate might be higher because you have a higher quality book cover. Now, obviously, there's other things that come into play as well, but your book cover is the most important thing. Now, a little promotion from me just to help you out. If you want to sign up for the program, you can just go in the description. There's a waiting list. I've been working on this program for a year. It's helped over 100 publishers, and now I'm updating it and making it even better and making it available to the public. So now you get to join the program as well. If you're interested, just sign up for the wait list, and then I'm going to send you an email when it's available. Also, if you want to see me live and you want to see me give your book cover a little audit or basically judge your book cover, you can just join the community. Again, link in the description. And also, if you don't find it valuable, you can just cancel it. Anyway, you have 7-day free trial. So you might as well click the free trial button because you have access to full niche research training as well. Super, super helpful. So even if you're not going to join the live, at least go in there, watch the video, learn something new, and then you can cancel. It's completely free. If you find it valuable, then great. You can just continue being a member of the community. But anyway, go out there and hopefully this helps make you some higher quality book covers.